So the other thing I think we're gonna see a lot of in 2023 is color blocking, and I love color blocking. I've been doing hair for a while now, so I already went through color blocking when it was first popular, and now it's coming back. A little bit of a difference in what we're seeing for 2023 is that it's a little bit more dispersed. When we used to do it, we'd have big solid chunks of color, we'd go right from the root, and they'd be very definitive. But now it's a little bit more subtle, and it blends in with the hair a little bit better. So this is my model. I spun her around already. We're going to start the octopus cut on her. You can see that I've sectioned her into 3 areas. We have the bottom section down here, which basically divides from the occipital bone. My husband's on the camera, so he's struggling to keep up with me. If you guys have any questions today, feel free to put them in the comment section. He will read them out to me. If I miss any of them, I will respond to them later on. But feel free to ask any questions that you would like during this live. So I have my first section down here, which I've sectioned off at her occipital bone and below. And then we have the second section in the middle, which basically falls between that occipital and the parietal ridge of the head. And then we have the third section, which is everything above the parietal ridge. I sectioned these into 2 just to make it a little bit easier for me to control, but you don't have to do that. So I'm going to start with this bottom section. How was everyone's Christmas? Did anyone else get that gigantic...
Where are the bonds?
Sorry?
Where are the bonds?
The bonds.
Bonds?
What is bonds? Who asked that?
Patty.
Patty, could you maybe ask that again? I'm not sure what you mean by the bonds. So I'm going to start with the middle section. And I'm gonna move her just so you can kind of see how I pull this up. And I'm gonna elevate this. I'm gonna have her head tip down. And I wanna let some of that length fall out, and then I'm gonna cut it across at a horizontal. So you can see this is gonna give me a lot of layering down through this bottom section. Now I'm gonna keep moving her so you guys can see this. This was not how you would do the cut in the salon, but I wanna make sure you see what I'm doing. So I'm gonna take a section just a little bit to the left of that, and I'm gonna pick up some from my last section as my guide. And I'm gonna pull that back to the center of the head. So we're working with a stationary guideline in the middle. I'm gonna bring it up. I don't know if you can see, but there's my guide. And cut this across. And then I'm gonna pick up the remainder of the hair on this side, comb it to the center, find my guide, and cut across. And what this is gonna do, it's gonna give her her shortest layer in the center of the head, and we're gonna work to a longer layer towards the outside. So I'm gonna repeat that on the other side. I'm gonna take a section and I'm going to comb it over to that middle section, comb it up, find my guideline, and cut. I'm gonna take a section right beside it and comb it over to that middle section. There's my guideline there. And I'm gonna take the remaining hair and comb it to the center as well. And that's my bottom section completed. So the whole point of this haircut, if you're just joining me today, this is the octopus cut. We're working with a very disconnected layer, and it's very fast and easy. So it's something you can do behind the chair very quick. And it's something when your clients are asking, what's new for 2023? You can say, have you thought about the octopus cut? So I'm gonna drop down my middle section. Is my sound okay? Can everyone hear me? Can you put a heart in the comments if you can hear me?
Shannon says hi.
Shannon, hi Shannon. Did you guys melt all that snow yet? I think you guys got snow too, which is crazy. Okay, one thing I forgot to say, but if you want, because we want to leave this disconnected, if you want to clip this out of the way, I like to clip it out of the way just so I don't cut it by accident, but sometimes that's a good idea.
Sound is good.
Sound is good, all right. All right, so I'm gonna drop down this middle section. I'm gonna make sure it's nice and saturated. What do you guys think of this color? The color of the year, in case you were anyone was interested, is magenta. My model does not like magenta, so she kind of gave me permission to do whatever else I would like. So this was done with our Lonza Vibes, and it is our Yellow Vibes and one of the 365 colors called Under the Mistletoe, which I thought was pretty fitting for this time of the year. Okay, so we've dropped down this whole middle section. Now, when we're doing the middle section, our shortest piece is going to be right by the ear. So I'm actually going to, I'll move her so you can see. I'm gonna push this out of the way. And I'm a little bit behind the ear. And I can decide how short I want this to be. Now, on my mannequin, I did her with very longer sides so that it's a little bit more wearable, right? Most of our clients could wear something like this very easily, and it's a subtle effect. The shorter you go with this section, the funkier it's gonna be, the more disconnected. I don't wanna say more modern, but more edgier, I guess. Ashton kind of falls somewhere in between that. So I promised her I wouldn't take hers too short either. So I'm gonna pick this up and I'm gonna cut it straight across. So that's my new guideline for the middle section. So what I'm gonna do with this, I'm gonna take all of this hair in the front and I'm gonna comb it to that section. I'm gonna have to move her, but. And I'm gonna cut it at the guideline. And if you have to recomb to make sure that your tension is good and the hair is where you want it, make sure you do that. So now this is cut in the front. And what we're gonna do from this point is I'm going to pick up a section of that original cut by the ear and I'm gonna travel it around the head in a round layer. So the very important thing when we're doing round layering is making sure that we're standing in front of our section and that we're moving with our section. So I'm gonna pull this straight out and cut. I'm gonna split it in half. I'm gonna move her, but in the salon, I would actually be physically moving my body around the chair as I cut, making sure my section is right in front of me, but because you guys are watching, I'm gonna move her. I'm gonna make sure that I'm not picking up any of that bottom section because I want it to stay disconnected. Find my guideline. I'm gonna recomb to make sure I have good tension. So I've been doing a lot more of the bright colors in the salon. I've been doing a lot of Lonza Vibe work. I think with color blocking coming back, people are really embracing doing some more fun. Not that blonde isn't fun, but every once in a while, as stylists, we like to mix it up. So what are some of the products that we have in Lonza that help our clients maintain these bright fashion colors? Can anyone tell me in the comments what you would send your client home with to help them maintain their color? to there, my guideline. I'm gonna take a little bit more. I'm gonna make sure I am in front of my section.
Color care.
Color care, who said that?
Isabel.
Isabel. Isabel got on. Isabel gave me a heart attack today because she thought this started earlier, so she was watching out for me, but we were just getting the time zones mixed up.
Color Preserve shampoo and conditioner.
Yes.
Ruth.
Yes, so Color Preserve shampoo and conditioner is the big one. We also have our leader sale coming up in January and February, so it's a great time to stock up on these products. Color Care Restorative Conditioner is another one. It's just going to give them an extra dose of Flower Shield Complex, which will help maintain their color. It's a good one to put a little bit on these areas before they even get in the shower, and it will help prevent water fadage. And that's the Color Restorative Conditioner. Okay, so I'm still moving around the head. I'm picking up sections from the one before, or picking up a guideline from the section previous. And I'm moving it around the head. I'm remembering to move my body as I go around. I'm making sure that I am keeping my section in front of my body. Because what happens when we forget and we stand off to the side, we have a tendency to pull the hair, and then we end up with extra length that we didn't want. So I'm just working my way around to that other ear. She's got a lot of hair, so bear with me here. We lightened her hair using Lanza's powder decolorizer. She had quite a bit of regrowth. I will be posting pictures of her final look on my Instagram and Facebook pages, and I will show you her regrowth. She probably had about this much. Sorry. My cameraman is sending me signals that I don't understand. We forgot to do the, like, you know, the secret code before we started. All right, so I am just about at that other ear. Sorry, I was saying yes, I lightened her with powder decolorizer and 20 volume on her regrowth. I did use a little bit of our Blonde Boost pre-treatment on the areas away from the scalp, just because I knew that they'd be a bit harder to lift.
So Isabel wants to know if you do this on curly hair.
Oh yeah, man. So if you follow me on Instagram or Facebook, you will know that I do love to do a lot of work on natural texture. I try to convince my clients to work with what they have instead of straightening it out or curling it out. And absolutely, this would be a great cut for curly hair. Ashlyn actually has a little bit of a wave to her hair, so you will see that in the finished results.
What type of shear are you using?
What type of shear? I am using my Kukui Cobalt 5.5. Sorry, did everyone hear that? I said that to myself mostly. These are Kukui Cobalts. So yes, this is a great cut for curly hair. One thing I really like about it is when you're working with someone that has a lot of hair down here, it's a great way to kind of break that up and make the curls just be a little bit lighter, a little bit airier. Okay, so I've worked my way around to that other ear. So I'm gonna take my section, I'm gonna comb this back to it. I gotta move her so I can do it. You still see me? But we're gonna comb this back. A little bit too far. Come back to that section, find my guideline, and cut. Does anyone have any questions about that middle section? And that is all done. So then we're gonna move on to the top section. I'm gonna have to saturate it a bit. So one other product that I really like to send home with my clients that get these vibrant colors is the Lanza trauma treatment. It is also available in the liter, so it will be on sale in January and February. But the one thing I like about it is that in order to get these colors to show, we have to lighten the hair a lot. So our lighteners are very protective of the hair, but we are giving the hair a workout. So it's always good to go in with something like trauma treatment just to make sure that you're replacing any of the bonds of the hair that might have been broken. You're giving them those extra doses of Flower Shield Complex to help keep the color, and you're also giving them lots of shine. And if you haven't used trauma treatment, I could probably do a whole live. I'm sure Michael would allow it if I did a whole live on trauma treatment, but we do kind of like to joke around. It's like one of our gateway drugs. If you start using it, it's spectacular, and you will start using more and more Lanza products. Okay, so I have her middle section now. I'm just gonna comb it forward. And I'm gonna take a section right down the middle. And so this is gonna be my first section. In our last section, we're almost done. What do you think about this? I'll go over here. Okay, can you still see me? Oh yeah, he's working on it. He's working on the angle. He'll get there. Okay, so my guidelines here. I'm gonna use, this is a guideline from the back. And I already cut a fringe in, so I wanna make sure I don't wanna take any more off of that, so that's gonna be my guideline there. So I'm just gonna balance this out to try to find a happy medium between these two sections. So there's my guide there and my guide there. So I'm gonna go in. I am gonna recomb though, to make sure that I'm not holding the hair abnormally out of the way, which is gonna cause length. So that's my first section. And then I'm gonna go to the left of it. So if you guys are just joining in, I am Amy Perrin. I am the Regional Educational Trainer for Lanza Healing Hair Care up in Canada. So one of the things that I do in this position is I travel around pretty much all over Canada and I teach these classes in cutting and in color. So I'm going to take this last bit of hair. I guess I can move her now so you can see. I didn't want to do it this way because I don't have my mirror and you guys can see and I can't if I'm straight or not. But the idea is that we're moving it, we're combing it to the middle. I can kind of double check it, find my guideline, and cut. And same thing for the rest of this. Just make sure that I'm somewhat up and down, even though I don't have a mirror. No, I'm gonna keep her this way. So then I'm gonna go to the other side of the middle and make a section. I'm gonna comb to the middle. Make sure I got everything.
Can you use trauma treatment in liquids?
I don't personally use trauma treatment in liquids. I'm not sure on that one. I will actually check that out and get back to you. I would say no just because of the consistency. I like the liquids to be really, really like a light gel. And I would fear adding trauma treatment to it would make it even more watery. But yeah, I will check that out and get back to you. I would say you could probably put some in the hair beforehand and then apply liquids on top of it with no problems. It will actually help your color take. All right, so it's my very last section of the haircut. I'm combing all of this into the middle. I have no mirror, but I'm making sure that's somewhat straight up and down. And the haircut is done. So I already put in her fringe. You could go in now and kind of decide how you wanted her fringe to lie. We just left it long because she's growing it out. But I wanted to talk a minute about her color as well. So we did some color blocking on her. One thing I like about color blocking is that I'm gonna hit my camera by spinning her around. One thing I really like about color blocking is that it can really accent your haircut. So what I chose to do with her is that I wanted a little bit to show at the front. So I worked in triangles. And I basically went in as a rough guide, and I did a triangle here at the front of her hairline. But then I also wanted to accent this disconnected layer that we put in the back. We're gonna leave this really a little bit longer and edgier, and so I really wanted to show that off. So by adding in this color blocking, which basically was a triangle from here down to here, is where this one lies. This was my second color block. Can you guys see that? Having that there is really gonna show just behind her ear, which is very flattering, but it's also gonna show off this longer disconnected portion. And a couple things I did to make this really blended, because like I said, our color blocking isn't really the color blocking of the 90s. It's a lot more dispersed, it's a lot more blended. And so I went in with my yellow first, and I actually ran the yellow all the way through to the end, and then went back with the green on top of it. And that allows me to do two things. One, it's gonna really help that green pop. And then secondly, it's gonna really help me transition between the yellow and the green. All right, so there you have it. That was my easy octopus cut. We just broke that down. That was 3 sections. She had a disconnected section below her occipital bone. She had a middle section between her parietal and her occipital. And then she had that top portion above the parietal zone. And then I just did a little bit of color blocking to really make this pop.